Hello everyone. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, so I wanted to pre-record this video so I could filter out any sneezes or anything like that. That's just how it works, but the news cycle never stops, and there was a Francis Church meeting in Chicago. They wanted to promote pro-Francis propaganda, and so let's see what that looks like. A select group of high-ranking U.S. prelates, along with the papal nuncio and Vatican curio officials, gathered in a semi-secret meeting in Chicago between March 25th and 26th. As Pope Francis was praying for the consecration of Russia and Ukraine, the conference was held at Loyola University of Chicago. It was entitled Pope Francis, Vatican II, and the Way Forward, so you know that this is going to be bad. The event was created by Father Mark Massa, S.J., director of Boston College's Boise Center, and Michael Sean Winters, the editor of the National Catholic Distorter, which has been condemned by several bishops. It was sponsored by Boston College, Loyola University, Chicago, and Fordham University. You know what they all have in common? They're Jesuit universities, meaning that none of them are really Catholic. The invitees included the centrist bishops. This was from Father Massa. He said, centrist bishops who are open to having a conversation along with members of the Catholic press. Chatham House rules will be in effect, in which the quotes can be quoted but no one can be ascribed. This means that anyone can feel free to express heretical ideas without facing criticism from those who believe in the Catholic faith, because there's not going to be any accountability for any of their heretical ideas. He also said, we want to show that opposition to Pope Francis, not universally, but to a large extent, is opposition to Vatican II. So here we go. Pope Francis is the Vatican II Pope. What does Vatican II mean to you? Well, it means something different to everyone, right? We're all entitled to our own ideas, and that's the new Pentecost of Vatican II. Everyone has a different opinion of Vatican II, but when it comes down to it, the Amazon Synod is in line with Sacrosanctum Concilium in Vatican II. The liturgy is supposed to enculturate ideas, according to Vatican II. Now, according to the Catholic faith, that's not the case. But Vatican II means something different to everyone, and Pope Francis is the Vatican II Pope. He's the ideal Pope of Vatican II. So, Father Massa said, it's an opening meeting that we hope will become an annual or semi-annual event that will provide a forum where bishops and theologians can talk frankly to each other about important things that really get buried in the press. I don't want to leave these important questions to the secular press who don't understand what's going on, really, because Pope Francis certainly does. Among the participants were a number of high-ranking prelates, including two of Pope Francis's Council of Cardinal Advisors, the C9, Cardinal O'Malley, and Cardinal Oscar Rodriguez Maradiaga, who was around in LMNOP scandal and corruption, a papal nuncio to the United States, Archbishop Christophe Pierre, and prominent Vatican bus nun, Sister Natalie Beckhart, Chicago's Cardinal Supich, along with Cardinal Tobin, and then this is interesting, Archbishops Mitchell Rozanski, John Wester, Charles Thompson, Roberto Gonzales Nieves, as well as Archbishop Hector Miguel Cabreos Vidarte, the president of the Episcopal Conference of Latin America. I do want to focus a little bit on Archbishop Rozanski. I did a little bit of research into his background. He's kind of new to this stage. He hasn't necessarily aligned himself with the Francis Church and the Supiches and Tobins. So Archbishop Rozanski is the Archbishop of St. Louis. He's 63 years old. On March 25th, 2020, he suspended his priest from administering extreme unction, then wrote a letter that he was allowing the assigned Catholic hospital chaplains standing outside a patient's room or away from their bedside to dab a cotton swab with holy oil and then allow a nurse to enter the patient's room and administer the oil. He said if the patient is alert, the prayers may be provided via telephone for extreme unction. So I think he was, the USCCB told him, no, you can't do that. So he also had some interesting stuff to say about Vigano in 2018. He said, like so many others, I was shocked when I first learned of Archbishop Vigano's letter, not only by the nature of the allegations he raised, but also by the deliberate timing of the release of the 11-page letter to coincide with the papal mass in Dublin. We now know that key elements of the letter have been called into doubt. I don't think so. Which in turn calls into question the true motivation and reliability of the entire letter. So basically he's trying to discredit Vigano here. Of the contents of the letter that also makes accusations about the role of some American bishops appointed by Francis, Archbishop Rozanski added, "What saddens me the most is the legitimate needs of the victims and families, along with the serious issues raised in recent weeks, are being hijacked by some in the pursuit of ideological agendas. This is a time for the Church, that the Church must come together both in prayer and necessary action and not be divided. Those of us entrusted with the responsibility of leadership must atone for the Church's past failures, correct our ways, and chart a course for future reform." So basically what he's doing is he's defending Cupich, Tobin, Worrell, the McCarrick Network. He defended the McCarrick Network in 2018, and now he's reaping the benefits. He's being invited to their secret meetings, and Archbishop Rozanski looks to be a full participant in the McCarrick Network at this point. He's saying we need to look forward, we need to look into the future. We can't focus on the past, so he's de-emphasizing the actions of the McCarrick Network. Move beyond that, but you can't, because the McCarrick Network still exists. And Archbishop Rozanski is looking potentially to get a promotion at 63 years old. That's pretty likely. And will he be named a cardinal? Well, if he participates in events like this, I would say he's increasing his chances. So the other bishops involved were Archbishop Charles Thompson of Indianapolis. He's age 60. And why is he even part of this? He supported a school in his archdiocese that fired a teacher for obtaining an LMNOP marriage. And so why is he even part of this at all? And then finally, Archbishop Roberto Gonzales Nieves is from Puerto Rico, and we all know that all the Puerto Rico bishops, except the one that was recently fired by Pope Francis, are all into the jabs. They're all into banning the traditional Mass. But Archbishop Thompson kind of stands out like a sore thumb here. He's 60 years old, certainly has plenty of time for promotion. Is that his intent by associating with the usual suspects, Cupich and Tobin, and then the Vatican's busting on Cardinal O'Malley, Cardinal Maradiaga? I mean, why would you want to associate with these people? Why would you want to participate in their events? And why was he even invited in the first place? Some good questions that don't have answers right now. Now, the Pillar's J.D. Flynn noted how several journalists from the National Catholic Reporter were in attendance, along with liberal theologian Massimo Fagioli and theology professor M. Therese Lysout, who is a corresponding member of the Pontifical Academy for Life and a promoter of the jabs. In reaction to the meeting, Cardinal Maradiaga was quoted as saying, "We have this, what they call opposition to the Pope. It's trying to build walls, going backwards, looking at the old liturgy, or maybe things before Vatican II." Maradiaga lamented how Vatican II is unknown by many of the young generation, adding that it's necessary to come back and see that all the reforms of Pope Francis are rooted in Vatican II. Some Catholics have likened the conference to meetings of the St. Gallen Mafia, the secretive clerical group which was behind the election of Pope Francis. Let's get back to Cardinal Maradiaga's quote, though, where he said about basically the Latin Mass trying to build walls, going backwards, because they hate the old Mass. And that's been very apparent of all these, of all the Francis Church. They hate the Latin Mass, they hate everything that it stands for. And I don't know, I wonder if they're talking about how much they can restrict the Latin Mass at this point, because Cardinal Cupich certainly had a crackdown, but the Institute is pushing back. So I wonder if this is an effort to discuss further restricting the Catholic faith, or the practice of the Catholic faith. And as for the St. Gallen Mafia, I see this as a last-ditch attempt for the Francis Church to kind of solidify, because Pope Francis' popularity, he's not very popular right now, let's just say. There are plenty of cardinals involved in this, and this is should be very concerning for us Catholics, that a lot of these, the people that believe in heretical ideas are organizing themselves. I really hope that some of their criminal activity and some of their corruption catches up to them at some point, so that we can move forward as a church, because until these corrupt individuals are out of power, and the Francis Church and the Catholic Church, really, we're going to continue to struggle. Is it kind of like the St. Gallen Mafia? Maybe. I mean, they're semi-secret meetings, and they have no problem talking about the information to the media. I don't know. But anyway, this was a report that I wanted to let you know about, and thank you so much for watching. We are the laity, and we will not be silent.